Hey there guys, how's it going? So with the release of X-Men Dark Phoenix that came out a couple of weeks ago, I thought it was the perfect opportunity to rank all the X-Men films since it's kind of the end of the franchise now for Fox. Even though we're getting New Mutants next year, I just don't care about that film, but I'll probably end up doing another ranking video for that. But I have done a ranking video for the X-Men films before, a couple of years ago, before Logan came out. And my god, I was really bad. It is quite cringe to watch. But since we got a few more X-Men films since then, this is going to be more challenging and more fun to do. At number 12, we have the most recent X-Men film, and that's X-Men Dark Phoenix. I don't know what to say about this, really. I mean, it really ended the franchise on such a low point. There's little things I kind of like in this film, but it is a mess of a film. The film is just so dark and depressing that it's not really that fun to watch. At number 11 is X-Men Apocalypse. Now, it's not the worst X-Men film, but it's certainly the most disappointing, especially when you have the same creative team from Days of Future Past. It does have elements of goodness like the Quicksilver scene, and Michael Fassbender's Magneto has some really great material, but it really dropped the ball with the important stuff like Apocalypse, which he was really poorly written and executed, and you could just tell that Jennifer Lawrence doesn't want to be in this franchise anymore. At number 10 is my guilty pleasure from the franchise, X-Men Origins Wolverine. It's not good, we all know it. We didn't need to know the origins of Wolverine because X-Men 2 explained it well for us. And it really ruined the character of Deadpool for a period of time. The tone, the humour is all over the place. The animated claws are horrible. It has continuity issues. And I still can't get over that Will.i.am is in this movie. But somehow I've seen this film like multiple times through the 10 years. And I still find it so fun to watch, really. I think it has a great score and the first 15 minutes is pretty solid. At number 9 is X-Men 3 The Last Stand. Now, I don't despise this compared to a lot of people, but I can understand why. It kind of ruined what we loved about the first two X-Men films. There's no sense of direction of style because of Brett Ratner. I mean, the Dark Phoenix storyline just feels tacked on. There's simply too many plot lines. I couldn't care less about the Angel storyline. But somehow I find this film still entertaining, and I think Kelsey Grammer's Beast is such a great addition. At number 8 is the one that started, and that's X-Men. Now, a lot of people forget this one started the trend of comic book movies. Even though we got films before this one really sparked the flame, really. After 19 years, some of this film can be out of date and cartoonish, but it's also fun and serious at times. This one put Hugh Jackman on the map. I mean, we wouldn't have a Hugh Jackman because of this film. And Bryan Singer made you believe of X-Men. At number 7 is The Wolverine. Now, this is the most underappreciated film on this list. If the third act didn't have this Silver Samurai as this robot and stuck with the mutant approach like in the comic books, this could have been my favourite Wolverine film. But apart from that, I think it's a great character study on Wolverine, and with every Marvel movie had to be set in New York, this one is set in Japan, which was refreshing and fascinating, especially for a sucker for Japanese culture. And I think it has a great set of supporting characters. At number 6, I have Deadpool. Now, I remember when this came out and everybody was praising about this film. Comic book films should be R-rated. This is a 10 out of 10. This is amazing. And for me, I really like it. I don't love it compared to a lot of people, but still, I enjoy it. I think it has great action, it's funny whilst being clever. Ryan Reynolds was born to play Deadpool. The plot is thin, but it tells it in such a clever way. At number 5 is Deadpool 2. Now, I'm surprised a lot of people still prefer the first movie over this because I enjoyed the hell out of Deadpool 2. I laughed my ass off. I thought it had some great additions like Domino and Cable. It touched more on the X-Men mythology. They did the Juggernaut better this time around. The only main criticism I can give it that I think it's not a tight film compared to the first movie. At number 4 is the last Wolverine film, Logan. Now, I think this is an amazing film. The only main criticism I can give it is that the villains are kind of weak, but apart from that, this is a near perfect film. James Mangold learned from his mistakes from the Wolverine, and he didn't want the studio to involve. He made his own film with his own style. He made a superhero western with full of heart. I think Patrick Stewart should have got an Oscar nomination, and Hugh Jackman What a way to go. At number 3 is X-Men 2. Now, back in the early 2000s, before we had the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Dark Knight trilogy, this was pretty much the greatest comic book movie ever made. I mean, after 15 years, this film is still fresh. I think it has a bigger, better developed plot than the first movie, and it has everything we loved from the first movie and just elevated it, really. I liked it how humans are the villains in this movie and Magneto is actually the good guy this time around. And the way the film starts off with Nightcrawler in the White House is insane. At number 2 is X-Men First Class. Now, I remember when this came out and the franchise was on such a low point, considering the last 2 films were kind of underwhelming, but when First Class came out, it blew my mind. Matthew Vaughn gave new life to this franchise with his own style. It kind of introduced me to my favourite actor of all time, Michael Fassbender. Fassbender and McAvoy added new layers to these characters that were already established by older actors, and the film has such a 60s spy film to it, which really fits the film nicely. So my favourite X-Men film of all time, and it's pretty much one of my favourite comic book movies of all time in my top 5, and that's X-Men Days of Future Past. Bryan Singer merged what I loved about the first 2 X-Men films and First Class and made this masterpiece. Every character in this film, doesn't matter how big or how small their role was, had their time to shine. The editing is amazing, how it switches to past, present and future. They respected the source material nicely and what they were able to do with it. I mean, how they got this 2-part issue into this amazing, incredible screenplay. I pretty much love everything about this film. It's epic, it's awesome, it's emotional. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Go like, share and subscribe. Let me know, where would you rank all the X-Men films? Go check out my Facebook, my Twitter and my Instagram page. You guys are awesome. I've got your back.